Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Sunday, July 21st, 2024 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I always allow myself to nurture my way through my feels. And today we have a super big astro day. There is so much going on. It is the last full day of sun in Cancer. We have the sun at 29 degrees. We have our second full moon in Capricorn today at 29 degrees Capricorn. We have the moon meeting up with Pluto. We have Mars and Pluto in a trine. We have Mercury and Uranus in a square. We have the sun and Neptune connecting in. We have the full moon and Neptune connecting in. We have the sun and the moon and Pluto all in close connection. It's a lot. It is a lot. And I want to start with full moon energy and my Mimi astro theory in general. So full moons are like the completion of a cycle, right? It begins with a new moon, it completes with a full moon. This month we get two Capricorn full moon completions. Here's our second one. But I feel like every astro energy, even if it's dubbed a completion, is an initiation of sorts. And I feel like this full moon is an initiation of the completion of Pluto in Capricorn. Now, Pluto will not be back in Capricorn until September 1st, but I feel like this full moon is kind of ushering in this grand finale. The Sabian symbols are interesting, and we're going to get into those. But just keep that in mind. Like, because this full moon is in close connection to Neptune and Pluto, I feel like it's very karmic. I do feel like it's wrapping things up from lifetimes, initiating wrap-ups. It's not like wham bam today, suddenly everything's going to be wrapped up, but you may find some things happening that are like, okay, this has got to get wrapped up. So pay attention, watch for that. Capricorn energy pushes us into our responsibility. And there's two ways we can look at that. We can look at it as the world kind of means it, responsibility. Like, these are your responsibilities. What are you going to do? You have to show up. Or you can take it in as responsibility, calling upon your soul and responding accordingly from your soul. You get to decide. Capricorn reminds us of authority, and we tend to put authority outside of ourselves, but truly, your soul, God, Spirit, Universe within you is authority, and it is given to you by, I don't know, the act of you being here. And so I think we all need to remember that as we progress through some interesting astro times incoming, right? And I just think this full moon is just kind of setting us up for it. Let's go into some of the details. The full moon happens at 3:17 a.m. Pacific time. That is the peak of the full moon. Like I said, it's 29 degrees Capricorn, it's sextile Neptune, and it's in very close connection to Pluto. It's not quite a conjunction, but it's not a conjunction, right? So it's packing a powerful punch with these connections. The Neptune connection helping wrap up karmic energies, past life energies, potentially bringing on feels to be responded to, hopefully nurtured through. And like I said, the Pluto in Capricorn energy is so interesting because Pluto in Capricorn really can drive control and power issues. And I think that control and power issues are actually at the crux of a lot of what I personally think is going wrong in the United States and in the world. But while I cannot fix everything out there, even by pointing fingers at it, I can't fix it. I can look at my own. Having grown up in this, I recognize there are places within me that even connect to control and power, like on survival levels, right? And so it's looking at these energies and healing them within, taking that responsibility within that makes those changes. The decision to do that is part, I think, of this full moon energy. Let's look at these saving symbols, because the saving symbols are interesting. So I always read the degree that we're at, because that's how I read the astro. Even if you're at like 29 degrees, 59 minutes, that's a 29 degree to me. So I always read the degree we're at. So the degree we're at is a woman reading tea leaves. And then the keynote is the ability to see the signature of hidden meaning in occurrences, drawing attention. I think the universe is always talking us through symbols, symbology. Our subconscious talks to us through our dreams. Sometimes I'm like, what? But, you know, there's symbology, and it's just like, pay attention. The universe is always talking, right? Even if we're like, I'm waiting for an answer, the universe is always talking, and it's up to us to have to pay attention. Speaking of paying attention, so again, saving symbols do an interesting thing. They go from 1 to 30 degrees. In Western astrology, we look at 0 to 29 degrees. So when we have something at a 30 degree, is it 0 Aquarius? Is it 30 Capricorn? Maybe they're the same. So Capricorn 30 for Sabian symbol is a secret meaning of men responsible for executive decisions in world affairs. Wow. There's a lot of that going on right now, right? Keynotes being executive power. Now, again, we as humans a lot of times tend to give that power away, hand over that authority, which is kind of what we've been trained to do. But even if you can start to recognize your own personal authority and take that power back, I think that will support the changes that are taking place, that will come and take place. I think it's going to be a little bit longer for the United States before some of these changes go into effect. And yet, this is an initiation. This full moon's an initiation. And so doing your work, sinking into that responsibility, taking that power back is powerful. But just even looking, again, at the symbology of the Sabian symbol, as we are gearing up for Pluto, the planet of transformation, destruction and creation, power and control, as it prepares to finish up in the sign that represents government and structure. It's an interesting thing. So, to not lean so much on those power that be, and to lean more into the power in me, the power in you, God, universe living in and through you, I think is a powerful thing. And part of what this astro energy is helping us lean into. So let's go through the rest of the day after the full moon. We have the moon moving into Aquarius at 4:43 a.m., definitely bringing us to more mental vibes. And between Mars now in Gemini and the moon moving into Aquarius, still in full moon vibration as it moves into Aquarius, definitely sleep and mental energies are going to be popping up. The moon is going to connect to Mars and Pluto. That's our early morning hours. May feel a little temper tantrumy. You may feel a little action oriented. Hopefully you find yourself stepping into your power, but you may have some power tug of wars coming up. Now again, that may last through the day because Mars and Pluto will reach a trine later in the evening, like 8:48 p.m. So watch for some headbutting in that. And speaking of headbutting, we also have Mercury in Leo squaring Uranus in Taurus. Oof. Not fun. Again, more mental energy, more headbutting, potential communication disagreements, wounded inner child up the wazoo, wounded ego up the wazoo, and Uranus is there like, oh, is that your trigger button? Okay, that is your trigger button. Not to mention that we are in this Mercury pre-retrograde shadow period. And that is all just throwing oil on the fire, right? Like it's an oil fire. We also have the Sun and Neptune trining in and through all of this as Sun in Cancer wraps its way up. All the feels and some of the feels from beyond this lifetime, beyond this realm, coming into connection. What I like is that it brings strong intuition. Listen, I can't tell you how many times the universe is like, shh, don't do it. Don't say it. Just stop it. Stop it. And that's hard sometimes, right? The wounded inner child wants to make a point, right? Today's a day to listen when it's like, stop it. This isn't gonna go the way you think it's gonna go. So there is that. Now I will say that in the midst of all this, we do have Venus and Jupiter connecting. Venus in Leo, Jupiter in Gemini. So there could be some nice little highlights amidst that. In fact, please look for the glimmers. That's at the top of the cards today. Our ordinariness card, which is like, look for the good amongst all the work, amongst everything you're doing. Please, please be on the lookout for the good. Those who do not look for magic will not find it. We have consciousness in reverse. Try to stay conscious. Try to stay aware in and through this. We are doing some deep shadow work in and through this. You know, Capricorn energy, it really is this call to that responsibility. And I feel that beyond everything. What you decide to be responsible to within yourself or within the universe, how you respond, that is up today. And part of these big full moon lessons. So watch the shadow. I do love that I have the Sun card, innocence, remembering our inherent beautiful innocence, remembering our inherent beautiful selves, and having patience for the process that we're all in. Even, you know, the executive men in suits, because sometimes I don't feel really patient with them. Sometimes I really want to give them a piece of that wounded inner child mind, right? So patience in this energy, trying to remember our own innocence. And our final card I pulled from, what is it? Why can I never remember? Inquire Within. It's all for a reason. All of this astro energy, everything that's happening. And I remind us all the time, but I think this is such a good core belief to take. The universe can take the nefarious and use it for good. I leave you with that today. So you can book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. And the better it gets, there's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power. And remember who you are, for you are the solution. Good luck. Namaste.